Machine, you're listening to TCR.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast, episode 182, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, October 14th, 2019. The time, 5:57 p.m. Central Time. This will be the best episode ever, as we have our Yikes of the Week, which we do every Monday episode, in this case Tuesday episode. E-News, as always. ESL Pro League started for Counter-Strike. We'll update you on that. And also, we'll start the show with a little bit of follow-up to Blizzard v. Hong Kong situation. Blizzard responded. What did they say? You probably know, but we'll just give our thoughts and opinions as we do on the show. If you don't already, follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Our website, tcr.gg, has all of our other links on there, including our Discord. Be part of the conversation with that. We would love to have you. Our YouTube is there, youtube.com/thecenterring. Be sure and subscribe there if you haven't already. Go and do so. Before we get too far in the show, though, hello, my name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports, and as always, Anuj. What's up?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
A day late. I missed you, man. Like it was
Day late. Yeah.
an empty
yeah.
feeling yesterday.
I know. I was traveling. I got home yesterday evening or so, and just needed a catch me up day. I was out in Pennsylvania for my brother's wedding, so
How was it?
there's that. It was nice. They were already married, so this was like they got courthouse married like a month ago for
More
insurance
celebration.
purposes. So yeah, this was kind of like they exchanged their vows in front of 20 or so family members, and it was nice. It was different.
Back to back in Philly for you.
I know, man. I was there. I was there quite a bit. 2 weekends out of the month, and the weather was lovely. It was nice, even though, of course, I leave Dallas, and it's like 60 degrees with a low of like 40. So, that's cool. That's cool. But no, it was nice. I will say, though, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of esports while I was up there. Not only because I was just busy doing family stuff, but also so he's like a grad student / professor person at Penn State. And I don't know if you know this, but that's in like Penn Station, which is in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania.
It's like Hershey, right?
I
Is
could
that
be.
like the name
I
of the
don't
city?
know. I don't know if they're around each other or whatnot, but it is rough to find any type of like stable connection. So I didn't get to watch a whole lot of esports when I was up there, and what little I did, it was like at 420 resolution. It was very, very spotty, unless I
It
wanted
wasn't
to
happening
just
in the
destroy
best
my
of
data.
conditions.
No. So I kept up with the news a little bit. Of course, I saw Blizzard's response to the Hong Kong drama that they started. I got a kick out of that. And then, I guess we can just start by talking about it because
We thought it couldn't get any worse. And they were like, here, hold my beer. Like, let me
Like-
come in with our response.
so we talked about it last week, or last episode, and said they need to say something. They need to do something, but at this point, you almost just, if I were Blizzard, I would almost just stuck with my guns, I think I even jokingly said, like, they need to just double down and say, no, we're not doing it. Like, we're not changing this. It is
Is
what
that
it
really
is.
what you would have done? Like, if you were in their position, what would have been, in your opinion, like a winning situation for them? Like, how could they have come out of this looking good, or at least you know,
Uh,
being a
I
lot
would have
in a lot more of a
fired
stable situation.
someone.
Just let go of the first guy you
It
see.
doesn't. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter. I mean, he could be like the mailroom guy. You fire him and then you blame him. Run their
That
name through the mud. That's what I would have done if I was Blizzard. And then it's like, oh, okay, it was just some idiot who was in charge. You're like, oh yeah, you know how those in charge idiots are. That's I think what I would have done. But instead, what they did was they came out and made a statement at like Friday evening, 5:30 in the afternoon. And I know a lot of people were giving him flack for that. I'll play devil's advocate here. All right, I have no problem playing both sides of the game here, okay? My response to the people saying, "Huh, Blizzard, go figure you released something so late in the week, unacceptable." Well, what would you have want them to do? Was it
do it during the day. I mean, at like a proper news cycle hour.
but
Like
you
this
know
was
that's
like
not how it
literally to
works. Like
like for them, like if you're in a situation where you know the feedback's going to be negative, yeah, then that's not how it works because you want to do as much as you can to avoid being in the news cycle. Had they felt confident about the response and were thinking that the backlash wouldn't be bad or this would salvage it, they would have done this Friday morning. It's not like it took them till 5 p.m. to be like, okay,
well, but
reduce
you
it,
also have
let's
to think
go,
about this,
send it out.
Anuj. They have to wait so China can read it. So they can't release it too early or China's sleeping.
They're
They
doing it
need
on their news cycle.
they needed to let the Chinese government wake up and be like, ah, yes, yes, we approve of this. Go ahead and send it.
Yeah. 8
Wink,
a.m.
wink,
Monday
nudge, nudge.
morning. Let's go.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I didn't care about the time. I mean, I'm glad that they at least said something, right? Like, what would you have rather? Would you rather have them waited till a Monday? Because some people were saying like,
To come up with a better idea.
at
Yeah.
the end of the
Like the
week,
3 days would have been helpful just to like for them to come up with a better solution than this. Like again, I don't care about the timeline either. At the end of the day, if the resolution was something that most people agreed with, they wouldn't have cared when it came out. It's still going to stay in the spotlight because of how they approach this. You know, I know they're saying, and you know, we need to get into it, I guess, about what the actual statement was. Um, this is them just kind of defending themselves a little bit, giving back a
see,
little
that's
bit. It's
part of
just
my
like
issue is that there was defending, right? Like, and well, so this is what happened. J. Allen Brack, the president of Blizzard, he was the main voice behind this statement. Long story short, in the statement, what ended up happening was the Blizzard will no longer strip Blitzchung, the Hearthstone player, of his earnings, and both fired casters will now be suspended to 6 months. So and chunk suspension, I should include. All suspensions now reduced to 6 months rather than a year. The casters are no longer fired. They can at least come back after 6 months. Some spark notes on this. Um, Brack said in the statement here, I just kind of highlighted a few things. He said, the action that we took over the weekend are causing people to question if we are still committed to these values. Of course, talking about the values that people like blacked out, like world thinking, everyone has a voice, things like
yeah.
that. And he goes, we absolutely are. That should have been the period, right? Like, and then just continue, right? That's a leading statement. We absolutely are. And then he goes, and I will explain. That's what bothered me. And we even talked about it in our Discord with some listeners when this came out. Like, that to me says, no, I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong and why we're right and still follow these values. When everyone knows, like, your own employees were walking out. Like, who?
Everyone took a pretty hard stance against them. There was not many, if any, that came out and showed true support for what they did.
Right.
Even internally, like we didn't hear it internally
No,
until
not
now.
at all. Not at all. He goes here. This is one of the real funny parts. The specific views expressed by Blitzchung were not a factor in the decision that we made. I want it to be clear. Our relationships in China had no influence on our decision. Does anyone buy that?
really tough too, right? I mean, considering what's been going on. Again, maybe if the Rockets situation, again, we talked about the Rockets last week here, but the Rocket situation,
NBA,
maybe if that
Houston
hadn't
Rockets.
happened in the NBA, um, this could have been a little bit more believable, right? But it was already a hot topic button,
Right.
and they doubled down on it with following up based on it what sounded like his views that were expressed, not his actions, right? Like we've heard people yell on stream random stuff before, whether it be cursing, which is not allowed, or um, taking a moment to do whatever outside of the questions, right?
Yeah.
So
There's also something
this really
too
felt like it was based on the view.
with how fast it came down, right? Like you said, even if you want to use like Blizzard as an example, right? We'll keep apples to apples here. With the Overwatch League, like when XQC would say something or if a player does something, it's like 2 or 3 days later you hear about like the punishment. And normally you're like, "Ooh, that sucks." But yeah, I guess you're a player, you signed a contract. That's kind of like sports, right? Like fines always seem a bit ridiculous, but they are what they are when you're a signed player. Here though, I mean it was almost just knee jerk, right? It was almost like Blizzard said, "Hey, we got to make China happy first. Let's show them that we're serious, and then we'll fix our image later on with the fans because we're going to drop Diablo 4 at BlizzCon and everyone's going to forget about it anyways." Like that's my like when he says like China had no influence in the decision, I think is hot garbage. I think it's almost like insulting to think that people are dumb enough to believe that that wasn't at least a factor in it. Like I could be where it's
Maybe it
like
wasn't 100%,
ex-
right? Like it wasn't
well,
the only
and
thing.
again, I will defend Blizzard on this part. it Yes, it is technically written in their player guidelines. Like they do have it in the guidelines to say, "Hey, if you do anything to hurt our image," right? So I'm paraphrasing here. We read it last week, but it was like pretty much like if you do anything to hurt our image, like in the tournament realm, then like you are subject to
Can be
punishment.
punished for it. Yeah.
The
Again,
issue is like, does that punishment fit the crime? Like, think of if it was reversed. If he said support China or whatever, like take out the China and Hong Kong thing in general, right? And said, what if he was like, make America great again, or we should have free healthcare, or like, still political, but not involving China,
China. Yeah.
right? Would
No, that's a great
would we
point.
have seen like the next day punishment being a year ban and his prize money gone? Like for a
If
first time
if
offender,
he yells universal health care and he gets a 1 year ban and all of his prize money taken away.
that's what I
You're
want to
right.
see
Like
now.
that's something that would never have
But
happened,
still,
right? Like
it's still political, right? Still a hot
yeah.
topic. And if you're telling me China had nothing to do with your punishment, you would tell me that you would punish him the same way. It's like, dude, I don't buy that at all.
Yeah, what he should have done was taken that whole part out of the statement. So the part where he is saying China had no factor in it, that should have just been scrapped from the statement because even if it is true, okay, even if that really was, they sat down and they were like, hey guys, rule 2.6.1a, this guy needs to be suspended, and they never thought of China. It's still too unbelievable for the outside world to believe.
Well, because
It just
everyone, like,
comes across
why the
as like,
target is on you is because of China. And I know they were like, we got to address this China thing. In reality, you're right. They should have been like, why don't we let that part just blow over? Right? Like,
what they should have done was, like they said in their next part of the statement, is there's a consequence for taking the conversation away from the purpose of the event or like disrupting it or derailing the broadcast. They could have left it at that and said, hey, also this punishment was harsher because it is such a hot topic,
right.
situation. So like he went above and beyond from taking it out of the scope of what you're supposed to do in those events, but we support, he has the right to his views or something,
Yeah.
and
At no point in this statement did they ever say that, though. You know, at no point did they say we support his decision to have his personal views, or you know what I'm saying? Like, at no
Yeah, like
point did they say, "Hey, our players should have their own opinion." They pretty much just defended themselves. They never
well, they
once seemed
backtracked,
apologetic.
right? This doesn't seem real because it's just backtracking from what they really wanted to do. Everybody knows their initial intention now because they made it clear. They suspended him for, a year and took away all of his money. That's what they really wanted to do because they did it. This just feels like they took a couple of steps back and now we're like, okay, we realize this looks really bad. Let's try and fix it a little bit to appease people, but not because we're in support of the player. We're promoting free speech or freedom of press, or we want them to be free in Hong Kong. Like none of that. This was purely what can we do to make it a little bit better in the public's perception, and
Yep.
that's it.
Yeah, and I think what they could have also done is said, "Look, normally for this, we don't go through every chain of command. You know, in retrospect, we are reevaluating our discipline action system, whatever, right? And we realize that for a first time offender, for the first time this ever happened at a Blizzard Hearthstone event, we're lifting the suspension entirely. He's giving his money back. Going forward, we're going to highlight this rule and we will enforce it. Keep your personal and politic opinion out of it." And for me, like, I have no problem someone saying, "Hey, keep your political opinions to yourself," when you're on the stage at our Hearthstone tournament or
Which
whatever.
I agree with that, right? I mean, I understand them not wanting that to be part of the event. Um, but you're right. Like that would be a much better way to have approached this. I just think it's too late.
It's
They've hurt their
dude,
image a lot.
it's been
It's gonna be
it's
really
been burnt.
hard. Like the only thing that fixes this, honestly, is time and people just forgetting over time. You're right. Like if they were, and this sounds so shitty, but like if they were to
Or a
drop
StarCraft
the
MMO.
right, but, that's what
That
I'm
will
saying,
fix
like,
it.
that's exactly what I'm saying, though. If the next big thing that comes out from them, a lot of these people that have walked away are gonna come back because they will forget, and I'm not saying it's gonna be 100%, but I think a
Right.
large majority of people will just
That's just human nature.
unfortunately
You know,
forget over
I think you
time and
you even
move
said it
on.
last week. Like, unfortunately, even though we live in a climate where things are very controversial, there's just too much out there to really like protest and forget. It's just
What are you gonna protest, like, 300 companies based on political beliefs? Like, some people do it, but it's a very small
right.
percentage that follow through long term.
Yep.
I think it is hurting him in the short run, though. I mean, they're looking pretty bad
Well, there's
here.
already talks about BlizzCon and protesting groups going to be there, and then we said it last week. It's going to be nutty. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, I bought my gas mask. I have my riot shield. I have 6 umbrellas.
I
I mean, I'm going
I
all out.
you know what? In support of Hong Kong, I'm only going to Hong Kong Express for food now until Hong Kong has its freedom. I'm only going to Hong Kong Express, which is a Chinese place here.
Why don't you donate some of that money instead, okay?
I'll buy a T-shirt. Will that
There
help?
you go.
Will that help? Worst case scenario is BlizzCon gets canceled and we just go to Disneyland for like 3 days.
Might happen anyway. Star Wars World?
It really,
It
it
might
really
just
might.
happen.
But just tell that Uber driver, you know what? But why don't you just keep going? You keep going a block down.
Yeah,
We got other
turn
plans
left.
here. We got other plans. But also though, something too, like this is kind of a ripple effect now in esports where, you do have Riot made a statement. Of course, there's the team in Worlds now. What is it? Hong Kong Attitude or something like that. Which is nothing to do with the protest, I think. It could, I don't know. But uh they've had to make a statement on that basically, and ESL has made a statement on it, all with the general theme. They've all said different words in different ways, but the general theme is just don't talk about it. Like, please don't talk about it. We're global companies with money and investors everywhere. Just please don't talk about it. Which, like I said, is, you know, maybe it's not the torch and pitchfork attitude opinion that everyone wants to hear, but to me, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Looking from a business side, like just kind of stay out of it from a business standpoint and move on.
I agree.
Let's get into yikes of the blah 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 yikes of the week real quick. I have this here. Did you see this?
This was awesome. This is
I
the
don't
best
know-
thing I've seen.
I don't know if it was a joke or not, but a local news station did a story on some kid who I guess like talked to a dude like I guess it was like another kid who said he was going to kill himself, so he called the suicide hotline and like stayed with him and talking with him until the police showed up and helped him out. So the local news story did a little piece on him saying like a gamer, and in the background this kid is playing
Deservedly so, right? Like, I mean, it's a great story in terms of what he did.
It's a great story. It's a great story, yeah. But in the background, this kid is warming a warm-up map with aimbot just going ballistic, like a spin bot just going ham in the background. Now, no way was this for real. Like, this kid had to have been doing a bit, right?
In my heart, Tim, I'm telling myself this was 100% who this kid is. He's the kid that saves children, but kills us in game. You know, like this is too
The
good.
irony is that the kid
to
said
be
he wanted to
fake.
kill himself because he was spin botting.
Right? Like he talked somebody down that he put in his misery.
Right.
No, like it was
I'd be
really
I'd be
something
like,
else.
bitch, you're talking me down the ledge. You put me on the ledge. What are you talking about?
Oh man, there's like such a good follow-up story here that needs to be done with
I
this kid.
really like. I need to know.
Um,
I need to know if this was real or not for my own sanity. Because something also tells me though that like a 13-year-old kid, like this is probably the same kid that I play Overwatch with on that league. Because I could also see some like 12-year-old kid thinking like, it's not a big deal. I use Spinbot, whatever. You know,
like everybody uses it.
ugh.
Yeah, no, it was really good. It was best part was like you said, it was an aim map, like a warm-up aim map. It wasn't even
like
in the game.
even more so. Like you and I,
like
why are you using
fine-tuning.
a spin bot on a warm up map? But all right,
No, so my yikes of the week is yikes of the week. That comes out interesting,
it
you know.
really, yeah.
My
Like I don't,
yikes of the week. I'll work on that. My yikes of the week is related to Fortnite. I don't know if you've been seeing what's going on right now,
I
but
have.
there was like a big push over the past few months that was a lot of hate directed towards Fortnite from all directions, right? Including this show, people within, that are professionals in the game. Well, they just showed us how much everybody loves and misses the game. They're releasing season 11 right now. They're trolling everybody. And have you seen this, Tim? They put a
Yeah,
big black
black
hole
hole with
on
like
the
little
stream.
Easter eggs hidden all throughout. Like you could type in like the contra code and play a little mini game and pretty much telling everyone like, look, you hate us so much. Let's see how
We're
you do a
taking it
couple
down.
days without it.
Shut the game down.
What if they did it for the
completely.
entire season?
Dude, that would be so awesome. It'd be so fun. Actually, it'd be terrible for the CS community. You'd probably get a lot of influx there. No, man, just impressive. Fortnite marketing at its best, though. I mean, this was really an awesome troll on everybody to shut it down. And you have, I mean, I think I have some of the numbers here. I wrote them down. 4.5 million viewers on Twitch, 4.5 million on YouTube, 1.5 million people on Twitch, 1 million on Twitter. Audiences watching this across the board. So I don't know. I mean, dude, the game is still as big as can be. Obviously,
I'll
I mean,
tell you
just
what,
the
I will play Fortnite. I will install Fortnite again if it comes out of early access. If throughout all this they say we're done with early access, we're an official game, I will play it again.
Are you sure that hasn't happened?
It's still in early access. No, it's definitely 100% still in. Now, I know like the phase 2 video leaked today, right? Which is another yikes in itself. The fact that not only are you trying to bait and troll people this entire time, but then you let your big trailer review get leaked. Like people are like, well, I don't really care about this black hole anymore. Thanks.
Done.
Yeah, I got the trailer. I'll just wait. I know it's coming back. So who knows? If they announce that it's no longer in early access, then I'll be good. Yeah, as Mr. Zen says, as Zen says in Twitch chat, just rename it to DayZ and move on.
That's what it comes back as. Just the
Right.
DayZ update.
Just DayZ. That was another one that was like years in
I'm
early
pretty.
access.
I haven't played in a while, and I'm intrigued to see what they come out with here. Though it is, like I said, they just know how to grab attention, good, bad, or ugly. Man, these guys know how to
Oh
grab
yeah.
attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I do also, if you are any of those people that ironically tweeted out, "Oh, I guess Fortnite is dead," shame on you. It's not funny. It's not. It's a bad bit that people are doing, acting like it's actually dead. Right. Let's get into real quick, Anuj. I know you were chomping at the bit to talk some ESL Pro League as it started up in Counter Strike. Now, I was telling you before the show, between this and ECS, I'm almost to the point where you need to just call me when the playoffs start, because the way they do their season and their format and their brackets, it gives me tired head trying to keep up with it. Like, at least ESL, I can kind of look at it and be like, oh, you're like an American sport. You just break it up in divisions and you have conferences, and that makes sense. But like ECS, I'm completely lost on. I don't know, like, for ESL, like Cloud9, they lost. You know, they're 0-3. I don't know, are they done now? Do I need to keep paying attention? You need to help me out.
Well, yeah, Cloud9 is in trouble. That's a big for sure. Basically, this runs all the way until like November, like mid-November. So I don't know the total number of games that they actually have. Really, just kind of going on with what's going on right now. But yeah, Cloud9 had an 0-3 start. They, and they're in a group that wasn't really easy, honestly. Obviously, with NRG in their group, it's gonna be tough to be the one
Complexity
team.
now.
Yeah, complexity. You're starting to learn what you're getting, and then E United has just like a solid core group of veteran type players, right, including Freakazoid recently. The way the formatting works though is essentially it's 4 groups, 4 teams in each group. The top team from each group automatically advances to the LAN finals. So if you win your group and you're number one, you're going to the LAN finals. If you're second or third, then you advance to the second stage and have to qualify for the LAN finals through that stage. So, fourth place is really, you're eliminated, you're out. And so, yeah, you do have Cloud9 sitting in fourth right now. Really, throughout NA, though, everybody else that is leading their groups should be leading their groups. I think it's a little unique. Do you have the groups up by chance, Tim?
I can in 2 seconds.
Well, it's a little interesting because
I have it
I
up on their
gotta
website. I have their website in front of me.
understand maybe how these groups work. Maybe I missed the memo here, but Group 4, I don't recognize any of these teams except for Sharks, and every other one has like handful of good teams here. So a little confused on how that works.
Yeah,
ESL,
well,
if you
so
could hit
here's
us
the
up
thing.
and
So I think we ran into this especially with in the Americas and the Pacific, right? Is that they wanted each division, like Europe, Americas, and the Pacific division, to have 4 groups, right? So you have A, B, C, and D. The issue is is not all those regions have as deep of a talent pool like Europe. So I think
well,
like,
Group D is all they're all South American teams there
but that's what I'm
in
saying though.
Group
Like by
D.
the time you get there though, like you're reaching at that
Yeah, for
point.
what you have left.
Right, to get some. Like look at like the Pacific team, like the Oceanic division. It's like Group A you have Greyhounds. Okay, all right. And then it's like uh Group C Tyloo. It's like that's it. Like every other team in
Done.
there is you've never heard of. So
Yeah.
I get why they wanted it to where it's all even. So unfortunately for those teams or those divisions that aren't as deep, there's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, and complexity, just kind of first initial thoughts on them. They went 2-1 in the first round of group play there. I thought they looked good. I was pleasantly surprised. They even gave NRG Evil Geniuses. Wow, I'm going to do that a few times. They even gave Evil Geniuses a run for their money. They took them to third map. Um, but overall, I thought they played well. It showed some. It's going to be hard to see exactly what they are until time kind of goes on and we see exactly where they rank. Because it's not like they had the best competition besides Evil Geniuses there. But again, they won the 2 out of the 3 matches. Was pleasantly surprised with them. I was surprised Envy uh, took 2 out of the 3 also. Another team that we would like to kind of see make a rebound and rise. Um,
Top 30. They're like 27th in the world. Coming
yeah,
back. Watch out.
really,
Don't
it's
sleep on
the
Envy. MIBR got the luckiest group pool ever.
well, Fury is like Furious, Wolf Patrol. At least they're like competitive teams. They're not they're not as bad as your face makes it seem to be. It's not
I
like the European
mean,
side. I mean, you look at the European side and every group has 2 or 3 juggernauts on it. With group A, you have Mouse, Face, Big, and whoever Optic turns into be. Um, Group B, Heroic, Nip, Vitality, and Sprout. Again, all very tough outs, like not easy outs, including Sprout there. Group C, Astralis, Fnatic, and North all in the same group. And D, you have Hellraisers, G2, Wendigo, and Navi. So the European side is definitely stacked. It's, you know, this is going to be a fun run here because we have, I would say, all of the best teams in the world participating in this. So, um,
well, and that's what
going to be
makes
fun to see who kind of
ESL
moves
Pro
along
League, in my
here.
opinion, one of the more entertaining ones, is because with the amount of teams that is in the league, like you'll hear all the time that it doesn't matter or teams don't care about it. In my opinion, though, it does make the end a little bit more exciting seeing, because, like, for example, like, what was it, a year or two ago with G2 winning it here in Dallas, right? Like, they were a team that struggled at the start of the year, and they even told us, like, we really almost just said, guys, who cares? They're online matches. Let's just go. Like, let's just move on with our lives, and we'll play in the next tournament. But then they are like, no, let's work on this, and they ended up turning it around and winning the whole freaking league that year, or that season. So I thought that was exciting. The way they're doing it now, it's their actual LAN matches, right? These guys are flying in. It's kind of similar to how Call of Duty, the CWL did it, right? They fly in these teams to California for the week or so that they play, the weekend that they play. So you can't
You
have that
see their
excuse anymore.
they're putting them up in pretty nice apartments. It looks like so like Airbnb style apartments
Oh,
instead
I'm
of the
sure.
hotel style to accommodate.
Yeah, I mean that's what CWL did too. They had like a block of apartments and they just rotated the players. They pretty much, rented out the apartments for the year and then
Yeah,
rotated the players in and out. So, and that's the way to do it right now when you don't have a league or like franchising or anything like that. I think that's the best way to do it. Teams don't have the excuse anymore when Virtus Pro went bad when they turned into Virtus Premier. That was always the excuse as well. They don't care about these online matches. Even
they don't
Thorin,
play online.
like
Yeah,
Thorin uses that excuse all the time, which is why I hate his ranking system because he doesn't take online performances into account for his like world ranks. And it always drove me insane because the online play is what got you to most of the LAN events, right? Like perform well online, you'll qualify for more LAN events. So it always drove me
and
insane when people tried telling me they didn't matter.
this gives that mid tier team also an opportunity to kind of rise up and prove themselves, right?
Yeah,
If you only wait for the
absolutely.
big events, they don't get invites to a lot of those events, and then qualifying for it is also a struggle because there's usually 2 or 3 juggernauts in the qualification stage that you have to get through. So maybe they win a game, lose a game here and there. But that's why it's so important to count these online, or these land matches, but once online matches as part of the equation. But yeah, the Euro side is always going to be, incredibly deep. Right now, you're getting a lot of these teams kind of settled in. I feel like with their rosters, like I don't think we can think of very many upcoming roster changes that are really going to truly blow your mind, right? Like I think even complexity has probably settled into what they're going to be for the time being. Um, I know you're about to add the new team OG to the equation, but for the most part, the rosters that you see right now are what you're going to see for the next upcoming handful of events. So this is a good opportunity for them to get some game experience before they head into them. Obviously, we're looking forward to it. I think it's in Dallas, isn't it? ESL this year.
ECS is in Dallas again.
ECS is back in Dallas. Okay.
I don't know if ESL has announced where their final is, to be honest with you.
Oh, location is gonna be in London.
There we go.
Yep.
Very close to Dallas, though.
Guess we'll have to fly out, Tim.
I guess so. We'll see what's happening there. But yeah, so there's that with the ESL Pro League. It started up, so we'll keep an eye on it, update it periodically as the season goes on with that and ECS. Or if anyone understands how the hell ECS even works with their groups and stages, and I just call me when the playoffs start with that one, man. I don't get it at all. I think they've kind of made that a mess, but that's for another time. Because right now, we got to get into some e-news. Not a whole lot happened over the weekend. But we did finally, Anuj, put the last nail in the coffin for Optic as their CSGO team announces that they are disbanding after pretty much Optic, the org, stopped supporting the roster. They tried to make signings. They tried to make moves and trades, and it just... Obviously, Optic wasn't giving them the money, which we kind of all figured was the case. I know Anuj and me have talked many times on the show, like, why are these guys still playing under Optic? Like, it was just this awkward, like, you knew that they were going to break up. You just didn't know when. So we
contract lengths were different for a lot of them, too. And so it was kind of a waterfall effect when... who was it? Config got released from his roster. They basically disbanded the rest of the roster.
Yeah.
It had to be done sooner rather than later, but just because with COD
branding.
World League coming around,
right?
So
And that's why you knew it was going to happen, because as soon as you saw that, was it Optic Los Angeles or whatever, Optic LA?
Yeah.
As soon as you saw that as the team name, well, you knew right away that they were going to disband that part of it. And who knows?
It would have been pretty hard to get a buyout. I mean, with the team knowing that, hey, if we just wait this out, they're going to have to release these guys one way or the other. So asking for a buyout and getting money was going to be tough.
Yeah, so kind of a shame, though. It looked like the players wanted to stick together. It just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
Just kind of a bad situation to be in, especially.
Complexity will be looking at Config now.
And I'm still interested. Yeah, maybe. And I'm still interested to see what happens with FaZe. Because obviously with Atlanta FaZe going to the CDL, I just can't imagine they were able to get that one in.
Don't you think that they have to know that it's okay, though, just because whatever buyout they just paid for coldzera and to sign him? Like, you would think they have to be fairly confident that whatever decision they made ultimately allows them to use their names in both leagues. So
I'm not saying this. It's not going to.
It's weird how it worked. It seems like, I mean, I kind of want to dive in more and see how that did work out.
I really want to ask someone at Blizzard, like, how did you guys let this one happen? Because I'm sure, like, if other teams knew that that's all they needed to do was not buy a team and just partner with teams, like, that's all we had to do. Like, I would have done that. I would have saved myself $20 million.
Ownership and sponsorship are different, though.
I know. Yeah. But, like, FaZe's got a pretty sweet sponsor. What are they going to do? Change your name?
No, yeah.
Good luck.
Atlanta FaZe is not changing anytime soon.
Good luck. In Overwatch, Hong Kong will attend the Overwatch World Cup. It was officially announced. The team ended up earning enough money, well over what they needed to get there in the crowdfunding source ran by our very own friend Richard. So he ran that supporters club, and we joked about how I may never hear from him again as China snipes him out of Toronto. But Hong Kong will be there at the World Cup, so that will be interesting to see. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but even Riot commented on Hong Kong saying, just don't bring it up. This broke earlier today in Call of Duty. Clayster officially announced for Dallas. This was rumored for a long time. It was like the worst kept secret ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said it, 2-3 episodes ago now at this point, even if not more.
Yeah, we kind of knew about it.
Pretty heavily rumored. Exciting, though. Like, this is a really big signing. Now, I do wish he came with, like, Simp and, the rest of the guys from the EU
Right.
roster, which is still weird to me that none of them. I don't
None.
think
It's
any
weird
of
to
them
me
are.
that for the whole league though, like when
Yeah, like
Overwatch
well,
League
even the
started,
brothers split up.
you saw entire rosters just get bought in
Yeah.
Overwatch and said, "Hey, I'm signing your entire roster. Come on over." But man, with
This
Call
is
of
the
Duty,
first time everybody has been a free agent at the same time. And you're seeing where a lot of these, like, I think a lot of this is also done with friendships, but where these allegiances kind of lie, right?
yeah,
Um,
like
because
dude,
you're
I
only
liked you
gonna,
as a teammate, but my boy is on this
yeah,
team.
like we're gonna see that, and so
I also
I
think that,
am
like you said,
curious.
it's the first time like in Overwatch League, none of the players knew their value, none of them. But for
Yeah,
Call of Duty, it's been around long enough to where I think most of these guys had a pretty good idea on what their value was. Like, look, I was get paid this much with Optic. I better be getting this and then some with your team. And then they
I'm
kind of
pretty
worked it out from there.
curious to see what the salaries end up being because there is a $6 million prize pool on the line. So I'm pretty interested to see
You know,
what
I
the
saw
salaries
someone
are for high end
online
players.
say that that's not a lot. They were like, "That's it." I'm like, "What do you mean that's
Dude,
it?
I'm
Six
sorry.
million
Have you
dollar prize
seen?
pool
It's huge.
on top
And
of their salaries. That's not every like they're getting paid at the same time. You're right. Like,
yeah,
give me a break."
no.
And last but not least, esports is officially a school activity for Dallas ISD, Dallas
We've been
Independent
telling
School
them for
District.
20 years, Tim.
Does it
We've
make
been
you bitter a
preaching.
little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I was talking to my buddy and I was like, I shouldn't be bitter about it because like obviously I love esports and I want it to grow, but at the same time like like my school was ready to like kick you out if you played video games, like they didn't even have a video game club because they felt like it was not appropriate for school.
Tried playing Counter Strike in school, dude.
Dude,
Get
we did
suspended.
though. Like we would
Uh-huh.
download it out the school's PCs, and you would get suspended because of violence and video games and stuff. And it's just now schools are like, sure, come on, join our team. And I'm like, you know what? No, take your team and go to hell. All right, it's not fair. It's not fair, dude. We could have been somebody.
It's awesome, dude. Though I do love it. Like, I mean, I'm excited that it's here. I'm kind of curious to see just how they, do they run it serious or do they put this like in
I
some
think it's
back office like room where
well.
they're
So I
not?
think I think it's gonna be like a computer lab, right? Like they're just gonna make a glorified computer lab, and I don't know. I think for now, like for the first year or two, it'll probably be ran as like a club, like something that is taken serious with other schools. Like we're gonna have
Yeah,
matches, but it's not gonna be, like the
they're not
football
tearing down the
program.
football field anytime
Right.
soon.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
like a club thing. Hey, get together to play Smash or whatever.
I
Like
can't wait till we're wrong and it's like done in like a proper state. Like these schools are
I will
building
be
out proper
upset.
little setups.
I'll be upset. I really, really will. I remember one time in high school, my senior year, I did an entrepreneurship class, story time. Real quick, we did I had to do a project like, hey, entrepreneurship, start your own business, everything, right? Like lay it out, right? If you were trying to talk to investors, lay it out. And I did a LAN center, but in my brain, it wasn't just a LAN center. It was an arena where people could come and play games and watch professional teams play. Like even in my pitch, I had straight Rippin versus Final Boss being there because like at Halo, that was like my thing at the time, and it was like it was very like intense, and it's exactly what you're seeing now, like the esports stadium. And I remember my teacher picked it up, laughed at it, saying, "That's a crazy idea. It would never work." And now look at it, you idiot.
Now, Tim has called her back.
Maybe if he didn't laugh at me, I could have not scarred my life.
Did you save the paper?
My parents might have. I don't know. I feel like senior year they kind of gave up on saving my grades. They knew what that was. They're like, oh, another C minus. Okay.
Put this on the board with the rest of them.
Well, they just took off my brother's straight A report card and put mine behind it. That's pretty much the story of my life. But no, yeah, it's crazy, man. crazy to see the opportunities that kids have now in esports. Like, it's so funny because now esports is so big, it's harder to get into because everyone is doing it, but the opportunities are 1,000 more than what we
Yeah.
had. Like, it's just nuts the difference from when we were growing up to now. Makes you feel really old. But that will do it for this episode of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast, episode 182. It's done. It's in the books. If you listen to the whole thing, I appreciate it. If you skipped around, love you all the same. We will be back on Wednesday. So we'll record Wednesday night, episode out Thursday. You can always watch it on Twitch. Follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Join us in our Discord. Be a part of that conversation. Let us know what you think of the show. Drop a rate on iTunes if that's your preferred method of listening or wherever you listen. I don't even know what we're talking about next. It'll be interesting because I don't think there's a whole lot going on. So if you have
We'll find
topic
something.
ideas, you let us know. Or we're about to get pretty creative. So you
Hello,
can do
Rocket
that.
League update.
Yeah, a Rocket League episode. Rocket and League of Legends. All day. Boy, that'd be the shortest episode ever. We'd have to get Brett back. He could stretch that thing out just talking about one match. But again, that'll do it for this one. Thank you again. I'm Tim for Nooch. We'll see ya.